My name is Juan Carlos Cerda. I am the Texas State Director for the American Business Immigration Coalition, or ABIC, and I'm also a DACA recipient. I came to the state of Texas when I was 3 years old. I was salutatorian of my high school, and I got a full ride to Yale University. I'm an example of how hard work and a work permit allows Hispanics like myself to contribute to this great nation. So ABIC is a bipartisan group of over 1,700 CEOs and employers who promote common sense immigration reform. We are here today with the Comité de Cien, a group of over 100 prominent Hispanic business leaders, to kick off the Hispanic Heritage Month and our Hispanics Make America Great campaign. So, with the border now secure, Hispanic business leaders, state and local elected officials, and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce will urge President Trump and Congress to recognize the contributions of the Hispanic community to our economy and society, and to deliver work permits for hardworking immigrants. President Trump has now mentioned 9 times about how the aggressive raids are hurting farms, hotels, and restaurants. And the president also gave his support 9 times to a legal work permit program for dreamers and long-term essential immigrant workers. We are ready to get this done. And so we are proud to announce that the Comité de Cien will be having events throughout the country, beginning with the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce annual conference in Atlanta, Georgia, next Tuesday, followed by events in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arizona, North Carolina, Florida, and New York. And so we will also be launching a letter with signatures from over 100 local elected officials and Hispanic business leaders. Today, we have a long lineup of speakers from states like Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Texas, including state representatives, local elected officials, business leaders, and the fraternity brother of a dreamer who was recently arrested by ICE. So, speakers, again, please keep your remarks very brief for our audience, and for those of you from the press, please put your questions in the Q&A box, and we will answer them one by one. We're happy to coordinate follow-up interviews. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Massey Villarreal, co-chairman of the Comité de Cien.
Good morning, Juan Carlos, and all of you. Um, I'm the CEO of Precision Task Group, a Houston-based technology firm, and a co-chair of Comité de Cien, a bipartisan group of Latino business leaders advocating for practical immigration and economic solutions. My story is one of millions. My dad came from Mexico to the United States seeking el sueño americano, the American dream. But his journey reflects that of countless Hispanic families who worked to sacrifice to make this country great. As the past chair of the Texas Association of Business, I am keenly aware that in Texas alone, Hispanic businesses and workers contribute $687 billion to the state's economy. That is more than the entire GDP of Maryland, Colorado, and Minnesota. Today, Latinos are central to our nation's future, with over 65 million strong and nearly 36 million eligible Latino voters. But our contribution must be met with common sense policies like legal work permits and bipartisan legislation on such as the Dignity Act, so hardworking immigrants can contribute without fear. On a recent poll across battleground states that show that they are on board with President Trump's idea to let long-term trusted undocumented workers and essential workers get work permits. That includes 84% voters, Hispanic voters, and 78% of Republican voters. So we're asking you, Mr. President, you said you were going to do this for us. So we're asking you that this community is ready to vote for you again, but we need sensible reform. And this Hispanic Heritage Month, we celebrate our culture, our economic power, and civic leadership because Hispanics are woven into the very fabric that makes our country great.
Thank you, Massey. Thank you so much. I will now introduce Luis Rodriguez, an alumnus of Southern Methodist University and Sigma Lambda Beta.
Good morning. My name is Luis Fernando Rodriguez. I'm here today to urge Congress and the Trump administration to create a path to a legal work permit for my fraternity brother and beloved friend, Omar Salazar Romero. 17 days, 21 hours, 3 minutes, and counting. That is the amount of time Omar has spent at the Blue Bonnet ICE Detention Center in Anson, Texas. On August 29th, Omar was detained by ICE in Lubbock, Texas, after a minor traffic violation. Despite having no criminal record and not being charged with anything, there is no end in sight to Omar's detention due to recent legislation. Omar arrived from Mexico when he was just 11 years old. Fast forward, Omar is now a rising AI professional. Omar is a taxpayer. Omar is a proud graduate of SMU. Omar is a community advocate. Omar is a model immigrant. If there's anyone in this world who deserves an opportunity to remain in this country, it's Omar Salazar Romero. He loves his country and wants to continue to contribute to it for years to come. I urge our lawmakers and President Trump to give Omar a chance to legally stay and work in the only country that he calls home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Luis. I will now introduce Colorado State Representative Carlos Barron.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. Good morning, everybody. My name is Carlos Barron. I proudly represent Colorado State House District 48, and I am also proudly the Republican House Minority Whip. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, I reflect on my own journey. As I was born in Mexico and brought to this country at the age of 1. When my parents came here to work at a tree farm in Longmont, Colorado, the story of sacrifice, resilience, and opportunity is not just mine, it's ours. Hispanics are not only part of America's past, we are building its future. In Colorado, Hispanic men have a highest labor force participation of any group at 79%. We create businesses, drive consumer spending over 40 billion, and keep our economy moving forward. Our community also cares deeply about economic opportunity. We support common sense immigration solutions, like work permits and for hardworking, law-abiding immigrants who pay taxes and contribute to our economy. Policies like these strengthen families, help businesses grow, and keep America strong. Hispanics embody resilience, hard work, and community, the very values that make America great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Representative Barron. I will now introduce Utah State Representative Angela Romero, Chairwoman of the National Association of Hispanic State Legislators.
And actually the president of the National Hispanic Caucus of State Legislators. So I want to thank all of you for having me here today. It's an honor to be here to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. This month isn't just about recognizing our culture. It's a time to recognize the strength, the resilience, and the leadership of Utah Latinos. And I want to really stress immigrant families are the backbone of Utah's economy. In Utah, Hispanics own over 25,000 businesses, employing thousands of workers and contributing nearly 10 billion to the state's economy. And I really want to stress that, contributing nearly 10 billion to the state's economy. And I also want to emphasize harmful rhetoric against immigrants spreads misinformation and affects our mixed status families. My family's been in New Mexico. We've existed in these territories before this was ever the United States of America, but most people don't distinguish that. And that's why I'm here to stand strong, to stand side by side with my brothers and sisters who are looking for a better pathway, who are aspiring to be citizens and just want to be able to work and contribute to our economy here in Utah and across the United States of America. And I think it's really important that this month we celebrate not only our heritage, but also the voices and power of Hispanics in Utah. We are here, we're not going anywhere. And if I didn't mention, we are 16% of the population and we're one of the fastest growing communities here in Utah. And I really appreciate you having me here.
Thank you so much, Representative Romero. I will now introduce Georgia State Representative Casey Carpenter.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry, I'm presenting in my car today. I had to be at the Rivian ribbon cutting down here in Georgia. I just want to let you know that I represent Dalton in the Georgia State House, District 4, and it is actually a minority majority district and a 75% Trump district. Marjorie Taylor Greene is my U.S. representative, and I'm here today to say, listen, we need a solution. My community needs a solution. The state of Georgia needs a solution. Over 85% of Georgia voters in a poll that I paid for personally show that they want a work permit for individuals that have been here and have not committed crimes for over an extended period of time. We need a solution. We have secured the border, which I think the overwhelming majority of the people wanted to see. Now it's time to go to the next step and let's secure these people that are so important to our economy in Dalton, but also the entire state of Georgia. We can't talk about affordable housing, we can't talk about inflation, et cetera, without figuring out a way to keep these individuals here. And so I urge Congress, I urge President Trump to let's focus on a solution now. Now that we've secured the border, let's focus on a solution, because the reality is Hispanics are going to control the vote, the swing vote in the state of Georgia, and it's important for us to grow the Republican Party in our state to listen to not only Hispanics but also other folks in the state that agree with us.
Thank you so much, Representative Carpenter. I will now introduce Mayor Javier Villalobos of the city of McAllen, Texas.
Hey, good morning, Mayor Villalobos here in McAllen. Well, here in McAllen, we're a few miles away from the border, but we understand a lot of the issues. And we've said it and said it a lot of the times. Look, we need to solve this immigration issue. What do we have? But what do we have to do first is put political issues aside. When you talk about immigration, I've said it that it has been utilized for the purposes of political gain in the last few terms. I think we need to stop that. We know that our population is aging. We know that the birth rates are lower. Me as mayor, I know what I need for our community, strong workforce. We know what's going on. So I urge Congress, I urge the Senate, the administration to put politics aside, do what's correct for the American people, and that is to find a lawful pathway. And I'm not talking about citizenship. I'm not talking about amnesty. I'm talking about putting people that can be productive to our country to work. And I think it can be done. Just set aside political ideals.
Thank you so much, Mayor Villalobos. I will now introduce Berks County Commissioner Michael Rivera of Pennsylvania.
Gracias, Juan Carlos. Berks County has always been a place where hard work matters. From our manufacturing industry, which is the largest industry in Berks by employment count, to agriculture, which contributes over $1 billion a year in economic output, our economy is growing and creating opportunities. And Hispanics are a key part of that workforce. Their work is essential to our businesses and communities. Just in the city of Reading, over 70% of the population is Hispanic. Across Pennsylvania, Hispanics contribute $36 billion to the state's economy, which is about 4.2% of total economic output, and make up almost 8% of the workforce. They're helping drive growth and support industries across the state. Berks County residents recently voted for Trump, with many pointing to the economy and the high cost of living as their main concerns. They also understand that our immigration system is broken and our economy depends on fixing it. People need a legal pathway to work, to contribute, and thrive. Hispanics make Pennsylvania and America stronger, and they are an important political and economic force. They want a system that recognizes their contributions and ensures our economy and the future of America remain strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. I will now introduce Isamac Torres Figueroa, Chairwoman of the Berks County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Buenos días a todos, and thank you to ABIC for allowing us to be together at this important forum to talk about our future as Latinos. So I'm the actual board chair of the Berks County Latino Chamber of Commerce in Berks County, Pennsylvania, and we are a force for sure. We have to be able to make sure that we are advocating and as well as legislating, supporting our legislators that are going to bring solutions that are going to empower and uplift industry and not dismantle. We here in Berks County are working with industry to be able to make sure small businesses' needs are met and as well as large businesses' needs are met. I will say that one of the things I had discussed earlier is the fact that Pennsylvania was not only a battleground, it was a swing state in the last election. We were the only city in Reading, Pennsylvania, which is in Berks County, where you had both candidates in on the same day, a couple days before the general election. It speaks to the power of the Latino vote. And now during Hispanic Heritage Month, our voices have to be unified as we talk about legislation that is going to, again, help industry, not harm it. So I'm here with my fellow hermanos today to be able to make sure that we continue to elevate our voices together. And I thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Isamak. I will now introduce Lidia Aranda, Board Chair of the Minority and Small Business Alliance of Southern Arizona.
Morning to everybody. I'm very proud to be here representing the Minority and Small Business Alliance of Southern Arizona. I also am a former Arizona Commerce Director of Small Business Services and a former Executive Director of the Governor's Council on Small Business. Here in Arizona and throughout our nation, Hispanic Heritage Month lets us recognize the enormous legacy of contributions of Hispanic families and entrepreneurs. Hispanic-owned businesses generate over $68 billion in value and spending power in Arizona alone. And with the fourth largest Hispanic voter bloc at 1.3 million, we make up a quarter of our state's electorate. And these voices, our voices and our votes, are shaping the future. The MSBA of Southern Arizona stands for Industry and Training Protocols for Small Business, requiring sustainable and unimpeded workforces to maintain the flow of commerce and trade, and not a diminishing nor a disappearing labor force. Our community is calling this morning, and for not just this month, but always, for common sense solutions that allow long-term trusted immigrant workers in all essential industries to obtain work permits and stay right here in the US. This month we celebrate, and all year long we support the multicultural richness of our community, economic strength, and civic leadership as we Hispanic Americans shape Arizona and our great nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lidia. I will now introduce Ramiro Cavazos, Co-Chair of the Comité de Cien and CEO of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Greetings to everyone. I am honored to represent the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We work for more than 5 million Hispanic-owned businesses and represent close to 300 Latino and Hispanic and economic development organizations around the country. There are 4.1 trillion reasons why immigration is needing to be fixed in this country. We have 14 million vacant jobs in this country. We've lost over 1.4 million jobs in America this year. The economy is feeling the pain of the pain brought about by tariffs and of course many issues related to remittances. Not only but we're a bipartisan organization, and our GDP for the 65 million Latinos in this country is the 4.1 trillion that I mentioned earlier. We would be the fifth largest country in the world if we were our own nation. Latinos came to this country first. We're a nation of immigrants. And although we're celebrating 250 years, we came here before the 1600s, 128 years before the British arrived at Plymouth Rock. There's a reason why there's a state named Montana, Montaña, next to Canada, Colorado, and I could go on, Nevada, a snowdrift. And it is so important that we launch ourselves together in a bipartisan way, a pro-business way, and make sure that our economy keeps growing, that we have the workforce that we need. 99% of immigrants that come to this country or are in this country have come to contribute to the world's greatest economy. And the greatest experiment is free enterprise that is functioning, it's working, and it's giving all of us the quality of life. So I am just so grateful to our board of directors and our chambers and our 5 million Latino-owned businesses and everyone that realizes we need to develop the political will to develop laws to fix our immigration challenges, or else our economy will struggle and stay behind. On behalf of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, it is my honor to be here with each of you.
Thank you so much, Ramiro. I will now introduce Daryl Modine, CEO of Advanced Wireless.
Buenos dias a todos. My name is Daryl Modine, President and CEO of Advanced Wireless Incorporated, headquartered in Franklin, Wisconsin. We provide leading edge mobility and inventory control systems to the supply chain and serve customers in about 19 countries across the world. Today, as I speak with business leaders, both Latino and non-Latino across our great state, the most pressing issue I hear from all of them, it's almost universally the same. its workforce. As of our May labor statistics, Wisconsin's workforce continues to be under tremendous pressure, threatening not only our existing businesses, but outside investment into our great state. If we somehow were able to create, let's say, interest in every available job here in the state of Wisconsin, and if we were magically able to train each one of those individuals who's unemployed right now and place them in an open position we have here in the state, we'd still be more than 42,000 workers short. And that's with the current immigrant population that we have currently working in our state. From dairy farms to canneries, from manufacturing plants to distribution centers, to schools to hospitals. Our state's workforce and in turn our businesses are under great strain. In fact, in the words of the president of one of Wisconsin's largest chamber of commerce, and I'll quote him here, "Regional business leaders are pleased to see the crisis at the border abated. However, the economy needs more immigration to deal with the fact that America cannot organically provide the workforce needed to grow our economy." That's from the president of the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce, better known as the MMAC. That is why we need this president and this Congress to act swiftly, not only so that we can grow our businesses and our economy, but more importantly, to protect our nation's economic security. Thank you all for joining us this morning. May God bless all of you, and may the Lord continue to bless the great United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daryl. And finally, we have Sam Sanchez, co-chair of the Comité de 100, and then we will do Spanish remarks. Go ahead, Sam.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. My name is Sam Sanchez. I'm at the Third Coast Hospitality Restaurant operator in Chicago, and on the board of the National Restaurant Association. Also serve as a co-chair for Comité de 100. Chicago took action and casted a vote that we saw Chicago go from 16% in the heart of the Hispanic community up to over 38% that cast a vote for Republican Party for President Trump. We delivered a vote for border security. We delivered a vote for law enforcement, and we believe in hard work and family, religion. So, President Trump, on April 10th, you made a statement that touched the heart of all of us, and we thought that back then, and we still believe that vote, what that we casted for your presidency, was the right one. When your statement was about work permits for long-term migrants that's been in the United States. We continue to see disappointment in some of our migrants' families and losing hope. President Trump, we don't want our vote to go somewhere else. We want to continue saying we did the right thing. We're asking you to slow down the deportation on the essential workers, as you mentioned. Slow down the deportation of hotels, farms, and restaurants. We need to continue to support the economy of the United States. Our workforce is being diluted. Just yesterday, they released an information where on the restaurant industry is the lowest we've seen on entry level. So please help us bring common sense to immigration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. There is a question from Spectrum News for Mayor Villalobos and for Ramiro Cavazos. If you could please answer this in English and Spanish. Is there any dip in local revenue that can be tied to the current immigration enforcement climate? Mayor?
Certainly. If I may, not necessarily yet as far as the enforcement. The issue we've been having down here in South Texas is really more the crossings of, as a matter of fact, the reason I'm in the car is I'm driving from Tampico to McAllen. Down here, Mexico is very important for us. It is a very important, what is affecting us is really the inspections that have been imposed more because of the U.S. on the Mexican side and to the crossings into the United States. The crossings from Mexico to the United States are down about 30% on Salduas Bridge. And what that means to us, we are self-sufficient in the valley. Fortunately, we realized that after COVID. However, we also, it's a big boost when we have the Mexican shoppers come over here. And if you have a reduction of 30%, it starts hurting little by little. So it's not necessarily the enforcement that has affected us too much yet, but it has. But we're still doing okay. It's more the enforcement of the Mexican side of the crossings for the international crossings.
¿Y en español, alcalde?
Lo que nos está afectando ahorita, el enforcement de ICE nos ha afectado, pero en realidad no tanto, ay, gracias a Dios, lo que nos está afectando más es las inspecciones de la gente que viene de México para los Estados Unidos, que fueron puestas en realidad por la administración de los Estados Unidos. Y eso nos está afectando, nos ha bajado los cruces del puente internacional como 30%. Y al final lo que pasa, dependemos mucho también de México porque estamos cerca de la frontera y nos está comenzando a afectar. Estamos fuertes todavía, pero esperamos que juntos podamos arreglar los temas. Y esa situación de las inspecciones, claro, es importante pelear, como dicen, el fentanyl, pelear esas cosas, pero nuestra frontera está, it's safe, está, ya está bien. Pensamos que ojalá que podamos a estar como estábamos antes.
Muchas gracias, alcalde. Ramiro, ¿cómo nos está afectando estos esfuerzos?
Pues la importancia de la economía americana, que es la economía más fuerte de todo el mundo, forma 25% de la economía global, los Estados Unidos. Nuestros socios como Canadá y México en el TEMEC forma una fuerza económica para controlar las exportaciones de Norteamérica y las importaciones. Hemos visto un aumento de 10% en los costos al consumidor americano, que incluye los latinos. 70% de la economía, como mencioné, depende en el consumidor para crecer y seguir creando empleos. 70% of the jobs and the consumer power of our economy is driven by all of us. But we've seen an increase of 10% costs, unfortunately, because of the uncertainty of not just interest rates, but also the dangers of tariffs changing in midstream for our automotive industry, which depends on Canada, US, and Mexico. We're big champions of free trade. We're big champions of the North America, US, Mexico, Canada trade agreement. But we've seen an increase of 10% in consumer costs, and our economy depends on 70% of its growth on consumer spending.
Thank you so much, Ramiro. This one's for Mayor Villalobos, Rebecca Santana from Associated Press. Mayor, can you describe a bit more why crossings are down? Are people just staying away because they're worried about coming to the US, or are they not getting whatever documents they need to cross the border in a timely manner?
No, really, to us, what it has been, there's a lot of interest in our area in the Rio Grande Valley from Mexico, which is like, once again, which is the reason I'm over here. We're always working it. But really, what it has been kind of lowering, it's not safety, it's not security, it's really the inspections on the southern side of the border. And people are thinking, look, I'm not going to wait 2, 3, 4 hours while I get inspected to cross over and spend my money in the United States. In reality, it's not necessarily immigration issues. It was more border security issues, which I think right now we don't have much of an issue. So we're hoping that hopefully that changes pretty soon.
Thank you, Mayor. Another question from the Associated Press. This is for our business owners. Have employees who've gotten work permits through either TPS or humanitarian parole or other programs under the Biden administration, have they gotten these work permits? And if so, can you describe what is happening with those workers? Would anybody, maybe, Lydia or Daryl, go ahead.
I'll speak about a very large company that's headquartered right here that does, in this great state of Wisconsin, does business globally. They were having such a hard time finding labor that when we brought over the group of folks from Afghanistan who came over as refugees, they quickly absorbed them and trained them and put them to work. And they all were covered by TPS. Now they are no longer covered, and the company is literally scrambling not only to provide whatever protections they can for these people that they found to be these incredible loyal workers, et cetera, but struggling to figure out a way how they're going to meet their contractual commitments. So it's created quite a bit of hardship.
Thank you, Daryl. This is a question from Univision. La solicitud que le hace a la administración Trump para crear un camino legal y permisos de trabajo, ¿incluye una acción específica ante el Congreso o alguna instancia? In other words,
Déjeme contestar eso, por
Go
favor,
ahead, Sam,
Juan
go ahead.
Carlos. Mira, el presidente lo comunicó varias veces, empezando con los Dreamers en el diciembre 12 del 2024 que pertenecen aquí. y luego el 10 de abril y el 14 de abril. Sí, una orden ejecutiva es temporal, lo hemos visto que esas órdenes ejecutivas pueden cambiar. Esperamos que el Congreso, ahorita tiene el republicano, puede pasar una ley legislatura donde el Congreso puede pasar un permiso de trabajo. No estamos pidiendo amnistía. Un permiso de trabajo para la gente. La legislatura que María Salazar de Miami, la ley de dignidad, es lo que estamos buscando. Sí, puede haber diálogo, pero ya quisiéramos que entrara el diálogo, que el presidente se moviera porque la falta de los trabajadores en los restaurantes, hoteles, industrias y en la agricultura ha afectado a los restaurantes, a como no se ha podido recuperar este, los, los, este, eh, los agricultores, nos está afectando y nos va a seguir afectando hasta que va a levantar una inflación donde el costo del producto sigue aumentando. Un permiso de trabajo es lo que estamos pidiendo, pero que pase por Congreso.
Muchísimas gracias, Sam. Voy a ver si hay más preguntas aquí. Más preguntas, por favor. Vamos a tomar una o dos más. Si quieren preguntas, pónganlo en el Q&A, por favor. No veo preguntas, pero vamos a terminar con esto. Algunos de nuestros presentadores también quieren dar comentarios en español. Representante Barrón, Commissioner Rivera, go ahead, and then we'll finish with that.
Sí, muchas gracias, Juan Carlos. Yo nomás quiero decir aquí que la gente hispana, nosotros somos muy trabajadores y mucha gente lo reconoce. Vino mi papá a trabajar aquí, mi mamá a trabajar. Él llegó a ser el dueño de una compañía de aceite y petróleo. Yo he trabajado con él desde que era chiquillo, cuando iba a la escuela, en los fines de semana, en el verano. Somos muy trabajadores y así crecimos, así nos crearon, a ser trabajadores y tener nuestras obligaciones por delante y obviamente la familia es muy importante. Y aquí cuando venimos aquí a este país, a hacer el país mejor, a hacer el país crecer, eso es lo que yo quiero que la gente, el presidente Trump, que vea que nosotros no estamos aquí para crear el desorden, estamos aquí para trabajar, para mantener nuestra familia y ponernos por delante. Um, y yo soy un ejemplo. Yo vine aquí desde chiquita y ahora soy un representante aquí del estado y es un orgullo serlo. Y no más quiero que el presidente Trump y los demás sepan que aquí estamos para trabajar. La mayoría de nosotros estamos aquí para trabajar y para poner para adelante este país grande que nos ha dado tanto en esta vida.
Muchísimas gracias, representante Barrón. Adelante, comisionado Rivera.
Sí, gracias Juan Carlos. Quiero dejarles saber, esto no es una situación que está afectando solamente a varios estados ni a varias localizaciones, esto es algo que está afectando a toda la nación. No hay personas para trabajar en la agricultura, en la industria de manufactura, en la hospitalidad. Necesitamos personas para trabajar para que la economía de los Estados Unidos pueda seguir creciendo. Aquí en Berks County, uno de las manufacturas más grandes. Antes, varios años atrás, había espera de 6 o 7 meses para entrar. Si podías entrar ahí, ahora mismo están por debajo 600 empleados. Y es algo que no han podido subir eso en varios años ya. Y es por la necesidad de trabajadores que tenemos aquí. Y necesitamos, ¿verdad?, que haya algo para que las personas puedan trabajar legalmente aquí en Estados Unidos y ayudar a nuestra economía.
Muchísimas gracias, comisionado Rivera. No veo más preguntas aquí en el chat. Una última. De Univision. ¿Cuál sería el parámetro para el permiso de trabajo que piden? ¿Sería para beneficiar a quienes tienen un tiempo específico en el país pagando sus impuestos? Si pueden explicar un poco más sobre esto. Y
Y
adelante, Ramiro, adelante.
lo más quería decir, sí necesitamos un programa para ofrecer, incluyendo arreglando las leyes de inmigración, tener un camino para ciudadanía. Pero hay mucha gente que son inmigrantes que vienen aquí y nomás quieren trabajar, como lo dijo el comisionado, y muchos quieren regresar a su país, a estar con sus familias. In the 40s through the 60s, we had the Bracero program, that was a very effective economic development program to allow people to work in the U.S. and return to their families. And it was a periodic period when they would be able to do that. It's a program that worked after World War II when we needed the workforce. Well, we're at that point again in this country. Everyone wants to be an American. Everybody wants to come to this country because the economy and the quality of life and the freedom that we have all fought for, and many of us are veterans also, Juan Carlos, is going to continue. So that needs to be part of the solution, a guest worker program.
Muchísimas gracias, Ramiro. Si tienen más preguntas, si los medios tienen más preguntas, por favor, contáctenos mediante correo electrónico. Recuerden que vamos a estar en Atlanta para la conferencia anual de la Cámara de Comercio Hispana de Estados Unidos en Atlanta, Georgia, el próximo martes a las 3 para un evento con los medios. Entonces les mandamos detalles. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope you have a great day and God bless this great country. Muchas gracias. Cuídense.
Muchísimas gracias a todos.